Welcome. Take a slow, deep breath, and let the air move gently through you. Allow your shoulders to drop, your hands to grow still, and your thoughts to loosen as if they were knots, slowly undone. Tonight, we are not here for excitement. We are not here for urgency, or noise, or rush. Tonight, we are here for stillness, for calm, for a slow journey into a distant world. That world is the age of the Vikings. Not the imagined age of glory and endless conquest, but the real and ordinary world of those who lived it, and especially the world of those who sailed upon the longships. You may picture the prow of a dragon-headed vessel cutting through the sea, but as you settle into this story, you will find that life upon such a ship was less heroic than you may expect. It was slow, heavy, and repetitive. A life filled not with bursts of adventure, but with the steady endurance of body and mind. So, as you lie where you are now, comfortable and at ease, allow yourself to imagine the opposite. The rough grain of a wooden bench beneath you, the endless motion of the sea, rocking not gently, but constantly, the sharp scent of salt spray filling your nose and coating your lips, the air cold, damp, and always restless. Around you, there is no privacy, no solitude, only the closeness of others, breathing, shifting, coughing in the night. Picture the ship itself, long, narrow, built to glide across shallow coasts and deep waters alike. Its sides are low, so close to the water that waves regularly spill across the deck. Every plank creaks, every nail groans. The timbers swell and dry again, never fully resting. Beneath the benches, sea chests hold what little belongs to the crew, spare clothing, tools, perhaps a small keepsake. But here on the deck, there is no comfort. No pillows, no bedding, only the boards, worn smooth by countless bodies. The rhythm of life on board is simple, and it repeats. If there is wind, the sail rises and billows, and you feel the faint strain of canvas above. If the wind dies, the oars are lowered, and you row, rowing in unison, hour after hour, until your arms ache, your back stiffens, and your hands grow raw. Food is sparse hard bread, dried fish, thin broth if the sea allows a fire on shore. Sleep is caught in fragments, curled against your cloak, the cold seeping into your bones. It is not a place of songs and feasts. It is not a place of freedom. It is a place of duty, of rhythm, of waiting. Waiting for the wind to change, waiting for the shore to appear, waiting for the journey's end, which might be weeks or months away. And in this waiting, the days blur together. One sunrise is much like another. One night of stars feels like the night before. The sea offers no variety, only its endless movement. Listen now, not with your ears, but with your imagination. Hear the groan of timbers as the ship tilts. Hear the slap of water against the hull, again and again. Hear the oars entering and leaving the water, a sound that is half splash, half sigh. Hear the muttered voices of tired men, the coughs that echo in the night, the restless turning of bodies seeking a moment of warmth. These are not the sounds of adventure. They are the sounds of endurance, the sounds of an ordinary life lived in extraordinary conditions, and yet, within this monotony, there is a strange peace. The ship moves with the sea, and in time you learn to move with it as well. The horizon stretches endlessly, and though it offers nothing new, it offers continuity. The stars above remain constant, and their patterns are as familiar to a sailor as the streets of a hometown. In their quiet repetition, there is something steady, something calming, As you breathe now, imagine the sea breathing with you, rising, falling, rising, falling. The waves move as your chest moves. The rhythm is eternal, patient, unchanging. And it is in this rhythm that we will remain tonight, following the steady course of those who once lived upon these waters. This is not the story of a single voyage. It is the story of the life carried out upon such voyages, the story of ordinary people who faced discomfort and hardship, but also routine, companionship, and a strange kind of stability. It is a story that asks little of you except to listen, to imagine, and to let the slow rhythm carry you, just as the sea once carried them. So let us begin. Gently, slowly, we will move from day to day, from sound to sound, from breath to breath. You are no longer in your bed, but seated on the worn planks of a Viking longship. The sea is beneath you, the sky is above you, and time, long ago, begins to unfold around you. The dawn breaks with a soft, muted light, spilling over the endless grey expanse of the sea, touching the worn wooden planks of the Viking longship with a delicate, almost hesitant warmth. The chill of the night lingers in the air, mixing with the lingering scent of salt, damp wood, and the faint tang of fish that had been stored for the journey. You awaken with your muscles stiff and sore, yet your body already remembers the rhythm of life aboard this vessel. The constant sway, the gentle yet insistent rolling of the waves beneath your feet, every creak of the timbers, every sigh of the wind through the ropes is familiar now, a part of the intricate music of the longship that marks each passing moment. Around you, the crew begins to stir. A boy, no older than 12, shifts uneasily on the deck, rubbing his small, raw hands and shivering slightly from the morning cold. Beside him, a woman straightens her back and begins adjusting the ropes and rigging. Her movements precise and deliberate, each action the product of years of experience and an unspoken understanding of the ship's needs. You notice the way her fingers press against the coarse ropes, smoothing the fibers before tying a knot that will last. And you realize that survival here is measured in these minute, repeated gestures. Each knot, each pull, each adjustment is a subtle assertion of control against the untamed. Relentless sea, the first meal of the day is modest but essential. You unwrap a small portion of hard bread, dampened slightly by seawater to make it more palatable, and share a thin strip of salted fish with the boy. Each bite is chewed slowly, deliberately, as if by stretching the act of eating you can extract not only nourishment but also comfort. Water, rationed carefully, passes from hand to hand, a shared resource that demands attention and respect. Around you, murmured conversations rise and fall like the tide. Stories of distant lands, fleeting memories of home, whispered jokes, and small reassurances that you are not alone in this endless expanse. The ritual of morning sustenance is quiet yet grounding, anchoring you to the day that lies ahead. Once the meal concludes, the rhythm of labor resumes with gentle inevitability. The oars are lifted, dipped into the grey, rolling water, and pulled in steady, repetitive strokes. You feel the familiar strain in your arms and shoulders, the burn that accompanies each coordinated motion. Yet there is a strange comfort in the predictability. The sea provides no surprises beyond its own restless patterns, and in learning to follow its rhythms, you find a meditative cadence. The boy struggles, his small body trembling from fatigue, but you guide his hands, adjusting his grip and encouraging him with quiet nods. The elders move around you with ease, subtle gestures and small corrections transmitted without words. forming an unspoken choreography that maintains both efficiency and safety. The wind carries a faint whisper, brushing past your ears, teasing at loose strands of hair, tugging at the sail with a gentle persistence. You notice the way the waves fold over themselves, small crests catching the morning light, silvered by the reflection of a hesitant sun, the sound of water slapping against the hull, the low groan of the wood under shifting weight. The soft rustle of sails all merge into a lullaby of motion and sound, carrying your mind into a state both alert and relaxed. Each breath you take fills your lungs with the scent of brine and tar, a heady mixture that is at once harsh and invigorating, grounding you in the present, attuning you to the vast, relentless environment around you. Hours pass, measured not in minutes, but in strokes, in the subtle rise and fall of the deck beneath your feet, in the slow, steady progression of the ship across the water. Fatigue seeps into your muscles, settling deep into bone and sinew, yet the repetition becomes almost hypnotic. Your body moves almost automatically, remembering each motion while your mind drifts quietly, observing the patterns of your companions, the delicate shifts of wind and wave, the interplay of light and shadow across the crests of water. Small details catch your attention, the shimmer of scales in a barrel of fish, the worn leather of an oar handle, the subtle curl of smoke rising from a barely warm fire. These details, minute and often overlooked, form a tapestry of life aboard the long ship that is both harsh and mesmerizing in its complexity. By midday, the sun manages to break through the clouds, casting thin, fleeting rays over the deck. The light glances off the water and warms your damp skin just enough to remind you of a fleeting comfort, a rare reprieve from the constant chill. Conversations are sparse, carried out in low tones, and each word is measured, offering guidance or reassurance, or simply passing the time. The boy, now slightly steadier, shares a quiet laugh with a companion, a sound that rises softly above the rhythm of labor, grounding you in shared humanity amid isolation. The woman's hands move fluidly, checking knots, adjusting lines, her gaze sweeping the horizon with practiced attention. Each of these interactions, so small and subtle, is an essential thread in the fabric of survival. The afternoon stretches endlessly, yet within the monotony there is subtle beauty. The oars continue to dip and lift in steady cadence, each stroke mirrored by the gentle swell of the sea. The repetition becomes meditation, a quieting of the mind while maintaining focus and presence. Your body aches, but there is order in the ache, a consistency that allows you to settle into a rhythm. Observing your companions, you notice the strain etched on their faces, the quiet determination in their movements, the unspoken support exchanged through a touch or a nod. You are part of a living, breathing organism, a microcosm of human endurance and cooperation. As the day wanes, the light softens and shadows lengthen. Tasks shift to maintenance and preparation, checking lines, securing cargo, mending sails. Each action is performed with care, deliberate repetition forming a bridge between labor and safety. The evening meal is modest, yet shared quietly, each bite taken deliberately, reinforcing not just nutrition but the rhythm of life itself. Darkness creeps over the water, bringing with it a softened chill, a quieting of motion. The ship rocks gently beneath you, carrying the accumulated fatigue of days' labor, yet offering the faintest comfort in its consistent me-a-s-u-r-e-d sway. When night finally descends fully, the world is muted, reduced to the soft sounds of the sea. the quiet breath of your companions, and the gentle creak of timbers. You curl into your narrow space, drawing cloak and blanket tight, allowing the rhythm of the ship to lull your body into rest. Muscles relax, tension seeps out slowly, and for the briefest moments, the relentless demands of the day are suspended. The stars wheel above, reflected faintly on the darkened waves, and the quiet harmony of wind, water, and vessel creates a lullaby that carries you gently toward fragmented sleep. Here, in this fragile equilibrium between labor and rest, you sense the essence of life aboard a Viking longship. Each day is harsh, yet within its repetition and relentless rhythm there is a strange, meditative comfort. The boy learns, the elders guide, the women adjust with practiced care, and you, too, exist within this continuous, subtle dance. Every stroke of the oar, every breath of wind, every gentle rise and fall of the deck is a small testament to endurance. And in this endurance, in this quiet, ongoing struggle against the elements, you find a rhythm, a pattern, a fragile yet persistent harmony with the sea and with the life it demands. The afternoon sun lingers low in the sky, casting long, silvered reflections across the rippling grey sea, while a soft breeze carries both the brine of the ocean and the faint, lingering scent of smoke from the morning's brief fire. The deck, scarred and worn from countless voyages, creaks softly beneath each footfall, a constant reminder of the ship's life and movement. You shift slightly, adjusting your stance as the gentle roll of the longship nudges against your body. Each tilt a subtle cue for balance and rhythm, a quiet dance between your own motions and the endless undulations of the water beneath. The boy, his small hands raw from gripping oars throughout the morning, struggles with fatigue. His arms tremble, but he persists, guided by your patient adjustments and soft encouragement. Each stroke he takes is labored yet deliberate, a small victory against the physical demands imposed by the long, unending expanse of the sea. Beside him, the woman works with calm precision, her fingers adjusting knots, securing lines, and checking the sails. Her movements are fluid, almost meditative, each deliberate motion a testament to experience, a quiet mastery over the unpredictable environment that surrounds you. The rhythm of labor, once exhausting, begins to take on a hypnotic quality. The repeated dip and lift of the oars, the soft hiss of water against the hull, the distant call of a gull overhead, these sounds blend into a low, steady cadence. Fatigue settles into your muscles, deep in the bones and sinews, yet the repetition allows the mind to drift gently, floating alongside the steady progress of the vessel. Small thoughts arise and fade, memories of distant shores, imagined futures, fleeting glimpses of past moments. Each is absorbed and released, merging seamlessly with the meditative pull of the oars and the gentle sway beneath your feet. Around the deck, subtle gestures mark the shared understanding of experience. A nod between sailors, a quiet adjustment of a rope, the exchange of a water bottle passed carefully from hand to hand. Each small act reinforces cohesion and survival. You notice the interplay of endurance and cooperation. The boy's energy is buoyed by the encouragement of the elders, and the woman's calm diligence sets a measured tone that pervades the crew. Every task, repeated and refined, maintains a delicate equilibrium between effort, necessity, and the unspoken rhythm of human life. In such isolation, the light shifts imperceptibly as the sun descends toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the deck, deepening the textures of worn wood, frayed ropes, and weathered sails. Tiny droplets of sea spray cling to exposed skin, cool and bracing, and the scent of salt grows sharper as the wind carries the essence of the open ocean. In this sensory environment, each moment becomes amplified. The rough grain of the deck underfoot, the occasional sharp tug of a line, the faint metallic tang from tools and hardware. Your body moves with familiarity through these sensations, muscles responding automatically, mind focused yet gently adrift, balanced between awareness and meditation. Mid-afternoon brings the slow transition to routine maintenance. Sails are inspected and adjusted, ropes mended, and supplies redistributed. Each action, repeated and methodical, carries with it an understated elegance, a quiet assertion of human order imposed upon the unruly sea. Observing the boy as he struggles with a stubborn knot, you guide his hands carefully, feeling his small fingers learn the delicate tension necessary to secure the rope. The woman's eyes sweep the horizon occasionally, alert to shifts in wind and wave, though her movements remain composed, never hurried, reflecting a long-earned understanding of the environment. Conversations, when they occur, are low and measured. Whispered exchanges recount brief memories of land left behind or tales of previous journeys, each word deliberate, offering connection, guidance, or a fleeting respite from the monotony. Laughter rises occasionally, soft and contained, weaving into the rhythm of labor, lightening the pervasive weight of fatigue. Even the smallest smiles and glances carry reassurance, anchoring the crew to one another, reinforcing the shared experience of endurance and survival in a world defined by motion and the capricious temperament of the sea dot. As afternoon wanes, the temperature begins to drop again. Cool gusts sweep over the deck, causing jackets and cloaks to shift and flap against the body. The boy's energy diminishes, but determination persists. His movements are slower, deliberate, each effort a small triumph over weariness. You notice the subtle signs of strain across the crew, the set of shoulders, the tightening of fingers on familiar tools, the occasional silent sigh integrated seamlessly into the communal rhythm of the vessel. The woman continues her careful rounds, adjusting lines, securing equipment, her calm diligence ensuring that the ship remains stable, safe, and prepared for whatever the approaching night may bring. Mealtime arrives quietly. A modest portion of dried fish and hard bread is divided carefully, eaten with a deliberate slowness that stretches nourishment beyond sustenance into ritual. Water is rationed thoughtfully, each sip a small affirmation of survival and presence. Around you, the murmur of conversation continues, stories of distant lands or past storms shared in gentle tones. The repetition of shared sustenance, the ritualized movements, and the quiet attentiveness creates a rhythm that settles the mind, harmonizing body and environment into a unified, enduring cadence. The final hours of daylight are marked by maintenance tasks that blend seamlessly into the emerging darkness. Lines are checked once more, knots tightened, sails smoothed and tied with care. The ship creaks and shifts under the weight of the waves, responding to the persistent energy of wind and current. The boy works quietly, learning the subtlety of tension and release, while the woman's eyes continue to scan the horizon, alert to changes imperceptible to the untrained eye. Each movement, though subtle, carries importance. Each action a quiet testament to the ongoing dialogue between humans and the sea dot. As twilight deepens, shadows stretch and merge, enveloping the deck in muted tones of grey and silver. The subtle music of the longship, the groan of timbers, the slap of water, the whisper of ropes blends into a gentle, continuous lullaby. You settle into a narrow space, folding cloak and blanket around yourself, allowing the rhythm of the ship to ease tension from the body. Muscles unwind slowly, the fatigue of hours of labor giving way to a quiet, meditative exhaustion. Around you, the boy curls into a small space nearby. The woman's final checks complete, and the quiet harmony of life aboard the Viking longship holds each of you in its gentle, enduring embrace. Here, in this extended rhythm of labor, observation, and subtle human connection, you experience a profound, almost hypnotic sense of continuity. Each stroke of the oar, each tightened knot, each measured movement is a testament to resilience, endurance, and the fragile, persistent balance between human effort and the eternal sea. Within these hours, as light fades and night approaches, the longship becomes both home and meditation, a vessel carrying body, mind, and spirit through repetition, ritual, and the quiet persistence of life on the open water. The late afternoon drifts slowly into evening, the sun dipping closer to the horizon, casting its amber and muted grey reflections across the endless expanse of the sea. The deck beneath your feet, worn and weathered from countless journeys, creaks softly with every shift of weight, each subtle sound a reminder of the vessel's enduring presence against the ever-moving waves. You feel the faint chill of the approaching night brush against your exposed skin, carrying with it the sharp tints of salt and the lingering warmth of a day under the sun. The gentle sway of the longship lulls the body into a rhythm, each tilt and roll a quiet, persistent beat that synchronizes with the slow cadence of breath and movement around you. The boy adjusts the oar in his small hands, his fingers roughened from hours of labor, each motion deliberate yet slightly trembling with fatigue. The relentless demands of the day have settled into the muscles, leaving them heavy yet accustomed to the patterns of effort. He pauses briefly, inhaling deeply, the cool evening air filling his lungs with a bracing mixture of salt and sea spray, grounding him in the present. You offer a nod of reassurance, a silent acknowledgement of his perseverance, and he returns to the repetitive motion, each stroke carrying both the weight of the day and the subtle pride of accomplishment. The woman nearby moves with quiet precision, her hands tracing over ropes, tightening knots, and adjusting sails with practiced care. Every movement is methodical, deliberate, and meditative, each a small act of mastery over the chaos of the natural world. Her eyes sweep the horizon regularly, noting subtle shifts in wind and light, yet she maintains a calm demeanor, conveying a sense of stability and order to the boy and yourself. The repetitive tasks of checking lines, smoothing sails, and distributing supplies become almost ceremonial, a rhythm that envelops the crew in quiet concentration, a shared meditation on endurance, attention, and care as the sun sinks further, casting long, muted shadows across the deck. Small movements take on amplified significance. The texture of the worn wood underfoot, the faint creak of timbers flexing under the ship's gentle sway, and the soft, rhythmic slap of water against the hull combine into a symphony of sensory input. Each sound is subtle but continuous, a persistent reminder of the environment's presence. The smell of salt and damp wood lingers, interwoven with the faint trace of smoke from the morning's small fire, creating a complex, grounding atmosphere. Every detail, the rough grain of rope, the cool moisture on the deck, the metallic tang of fastenings and tools draws attention in a quiet, meditative focus. The boy's energy wanes further as evening approaches. His small movements become slower, more deliberate, yet each action is intentional. Each stroke of the oar or adjustment of a line a testament to his developing skill and resilience. The woman's guidance is subtle, offering quiet corrections and gentle encouragement without urgency or pressure, fostering a learning environment built upon patience and observation. You observe their interactions, noting the interplay of fatigue, instruction, and mutual support. A small ecosystem of human effort bound by shared endurance and purpose. Mealtime is understated, yet deliberate. Simple rations, dried fish, hard bread, and a sip of water are divided with care and eaten slowly, almost ceremoniously. The act itself is grounding, each bite and swallow reinforcing the continuity of routine, the shared rhythm of life at sea. Conversation is sparse, measured in tone, and deliberate in content. Brief recollections of past voyages, quiet observations about the weather, and stories whispered with calm amusement. Laughter emerges occasionally, gentle and contained, blending into the steady background of creaking timbers and the soft murmur of the waves, enhancing the meditative ambience rather than breaking it. As dusk deepens into night, tasks on the deck shift subtly. Sails are checked and folded where necessary. Ropes are retied and secured. Cargo is redistributed for balance and stability. Every gesture is repeated with care, a ritualistic confirmation of preparedness for the night. You notice how the boy mirrors these motions, learning not only through observation but through the internalization of repetition. Each adjusted line, each smoothed sail, each secure knot becomes a thread in the fabric of the ship's rhythm. A continuous cycle of preparation and vigilance that defines life aboard the LONGSHIP. The cool air intensifies, brushing against damp clothing and ruffling hair with a brisk, persistent insistence. You wrap your cloak tighter around your shoulders, feeling the familiar weight of protection and warmth. The boy follows suit, and the woman makes her final inspections. Each movement deliberate and precise, each action contributing to the ship's enduring stability. Small gestures, handing a tool, adjusting a rope, offering a reassuring nod reinforce cohesion, subtly emphasizing the interdependence of the crew. Night settles fully as shadows engulf the deck, and the stars begin to emerge, faint and twinkling against the deepening indigo sky. The rhythmic sway of the ship continues, accompanied by the soft, almost hypnotic creak of timbers and the muted, constant whisper of water against the hull. You settle into a narrow space among bundled ropes and equipment, feeling the tension in your body slowly release as the gentle motion of the ship becomes a lullaby. The boy curls beside you, small and still, while the woman completes her final rounds, ensuring that every detail is secure before allowing herself rest. Within this meditative rhythm, each movement, sound, and gesture converges into a slow, enveloping cadence. The repetition of labor, the subtle gestures of care, and the persistent, gentle motions of the sea create a shared experience of calm and focus. You notice the merging of fatigue with serenity, the way the body adjusts to ongoing effort and the mind drifts with quiet, contemplative awareness. Every stroke, every adjustment, every silent breath becomes part of a continuous, comforting pattern. By the time the night reaches its darkest point, the longship and its crew exist in delicate harmony. The sway of the deck, the subtle shift of ropes, and the quiet, steady pulse of the ocean become a lullaby. Fatigue and effort merge seamlessly into restfulness, a gentle prelude to sleep. In these final hours of wakefulness, the interplay of endurance, attentiveness, and quiet companionship crafts a serene, meditative atmosphere. Life aboard the Viking longship, with all its challenges, repetition, and subtle beauty, unfolds in a rhythm both grounding and restorative, preparing body and mind for the comfort of night and the gentle embrace of slumber. The captain stands firmly at the helm, framed against the dimming hues of twilight, a figure sculpted by countless journeys and years of experience on open waters that are as beautiful as they are unforgiving. His hands, roughened and calloused from decades of hauling ropes, adjusting sails, and steering through storms, rest lightly yet confidently on the tiller. Each subtle movement communicates with the vessel in a near magical dialogue, as if the ship itself recognizes his touch and intention. You walk beside him on the gently swaying deck, feeling the worn wood beneath your feet, the texture imbued with countless stories of labor and endurance. The smell of brine and seaweed permeates the air, blending with the faint warmth of the setting sun, a sensory reminder of life intertwined with the rhythm of the ocean. The captain's life is a meditation in motion, each day structured by observation, skill, and quiet decision-making. He reads the wind like a book, senses the subtle changes in current, and interprets the distant flight of birds to anticipate shifts in the weather. Every element of the sea is a language, and he has learned to understand it fluently. Beside him, the young boy watches intently, slowly internalizing each movement and gesture, absorbing lessons that cannot be conveyed in words alone. The woman aboard mirrors the captain's careful attention, offering guidance with gentle authority, ensuring that even minor adjustments are noticed and attended to, reinforcing the rhythm of shared labor. Morning arrives before the sun has risen fully. The horizon, a faint line of grey against the deep blues of the pre-dawn sky. The captain begins his meticulous inspections, checking the integrity of each line, testing the tension of the ropes, examining the sails for wear, and feeling the hull for any unusual flex or vibration. Each action is deliberate, executed with a calm and measured pace, ensuring that the ship is balanced and prepared for the long hours ahead. You notice the boy attempting to imitate these movements, occasionally faltering, but learning through repetition the tactile feedback of rope and wood imprinting lessons deep into his muscles. The woman's presence is steady, her quiet observations guiding both the boy and the larger crew, ensuring that each motion contributes to the overall harmony of the vessel. As the sun rises, the captain's attention shifts to the expanse of the horizon. He watches for changes in the weather, scans for distant land, and assesses the behavior of the waves. Every ripple, every change in color or light is a signal to be interpreted with patience and care. He adjusts sails to harness the optimal wind, coordinates rowing rhythms, and manages the balance of cargo, doing so with a deliberate calm that sets the tone for all aboard. The boy, observing each adjustment, gradually aligns his movements with the natural rhythm of the ship, and the woman oversees with a quiet authority, ensuring the coordination is precise and unhurried. Midday brings the subtle rituals of sustenance and maintenance. Provisions are measured carefully, rations divided thoughtfully to last the days ahead. The crew eats quietly, with conversations muted and deliberate, allowing the subtle lessons of resource management and communal care to unfold naturally. The captain observes, demonstrating efficiency, patience, and mindfulness, and the boy, now slightly more confident, participates in these routines, learning the unspoken codes of endurance and discipline. The woman continues to guide quietly, a stabilizing presence, ensuring that the rhythm remains calm and meditative. Throughout the day, each task reinforces a sense of balance and attentiveness. Adjusting sails, tying knots, steering through subtle currents, every action is performed with a mindful precision, a harmony of effort and observation. The tactile feedback of ropes, the gentle give of the deck beneath, the faint sound of water brushing against the hollow wall, combine to create a meditative environment, one that immerses you fully in the quiet mastery of life at sea. The boy, under the careful watch of both adults, absorbs the cadence of the captain's work, learning not through instruction alone but through the repetition of deliberate action and close observation. The captain's expertise extends beyond the ship itself. He reads the behavior of the sea, interprets the habits of wildlife, and anticipates changes in weather with remarkable accuracy. Every signal, subtle wave formations, shifts in wind, or distant bird flight integrated into his understanding of the journey ahead. These observations are shared with the crew through gestures, glances, and quiet commands, teaching them the value of patience, attentiveness, and the intimacy of experience gained over years of vigilant practice. As evening falls, the captain oversees the final preparations of the day. Sails are secured, lines double-checked, and cargo balanced for the night ahead. His hands move with precision and rhythm, each adjustment performed with a calm deliberateness that conveys assurance and stability. You follow him, noting the subtle interplay of movement, texture, and sound, the rope's coarse fibers under fingertips, the deck's gentle sway, the whisper of evening wind. The boy mirrors these movements, internalizing lessons in balance, endurance, and attentiveness, while the woman's guidance ensures continuity, maintaining a meditative cadence across the crew. When night fully settles, the captain takes one last sweeping gaze across the horizon. The stars pierce the indigo sky, their reflections dancing softly on the gentle waves. He settles into his resting spot, muscles relaxing in response to the ship's gentle motion, a calm surrender to the rhythmic pulse of the sea. The boy curls nearby, fatigued yet attentive, absorbing the lessons of the day, while the woman completes her final checks, ensuring order and stability. The subtle creak of timbers, the rhythmic lapping of water, and the soft whisper of the night wind form a gentle, soothing lullaby, inviting rest and reflection in these quiet hours. The day's efforts, the continuous attention, and the calm presence of the captain converge into a meditative rhythm. The mastery of labor, observation, and patience reveals itself not as a harsh demand, but as a gentle immersion in the harmony of human action and nature. Life aboard the Viking longship, though challenging, is revealed as a quiet symphony of skill, endurance, an intimate engagement with the world, a continuous meditation on the interconnection of every gesture, every breath, and every movement upon the ever-changing waters. The captain's reflection, as he looks up at the vast canopy of stars, reminds all aboard of the quiet resilience needed to endure, the patience demanded by the ocean, and the beauty found in shared purpose. Each gentle sway, each measured action, and every soft whisper of wind become part of a tapestry of calm endurance, teaching that even in hardship, there is a rhythm, a quiet continuity, and a deep, meditative peace. The morning air drifts across the calm sea like a soft, invisible hand, brushing the longship with a cool, damp caress. Salt and tar mingle faintly in the breeze, the familiar smells of life at sea, grounding every step you take. The deck beneath your feet creaks ever so slightly, each plank whispering centuries of use, each rope imbued with the touch of countless hands before you. You notice the young boy, no more than 12, hesitating at the threshold of his new reality, toes adjusting to the sway, fingers brushing against the rough, fibrous rope that will become an extension of his own strength and patience. Nearby, the elderly oarsman grips his worn oar, muscles taut and veins visible beneath sun-leathered skin, the result of decades spent in this rhythm of exertion. The woman, a figure of quiet authority, moves along the deck, eyes keen and hands steady, inspecting knots, checking lines, and offering subtle corrections that guide without interrupting. As sunlight filters over the horizon, golden rays touch the deck, illuminating every plank, every rope, every subtle detail that the eye might otherwise overlook. The morning routine begins in earnest, securing sails, tightening lines, adjusting tension, and attending to the small, necessary details that keep the longship balanced and responsive. The young boy struggles initially, fumbling with knots, hands red and raw against the coarse fibers, but gradually he learns the sequence: twist, pull, secure, repeat. Each repetition, slow and deliberate, becomes a meditation, an internal rhythm that echoes the external one of the ship and the sea. The elderly oarsman leans into his first strokes, feeling the subtle resistance of the water, the way the hull shifts beneath him, the delicate balance of effort and timing. His movements are measured, patient, a living example of endurance and rhythm for the young and inexperienced. Mid-morning stretches across the ship like a long, measured breath. The crew moves in coordinated steps, each motion careful and deliberate, guided by experience and quiet observation. The woman checks each knot, adjusting tension, smoothing frayed ropes, her hands passing lightly over the textures of each line. The boy, now gaining confidence, mirrors her actions, learning not only the motions but the subtle pull of a rope, the give of the sailcloth, the faint vibration through the planks as the ship cuts through water. The elderly oarsman hums a soft, low tune, matching the rhythm of the waves and the swing of the oars, creating a meditative cadence that anchors the day's labor. The child crew member, gripping the smaller ropes with delicate precision, learns to sense the tiny shifts and weight changes in the ship, the subtle sway that becomes familiar, even reassuring through constant repetition. The air is thick with the mingling scents of sun-warmed wood, salt water, and faintly smoked fish from the morning's small meal by midday. The sun rises fully, casting its warm golden light across the deck. The crew pauses briefly for sustenance, a quiet interlude amid the continuous rhythm of labor. Small portions of coarse bread, dried fish, and fresh water are carefully distributed. The young boy chews slowly, tasting the dry texture of the bread and the subtle saltiness of the fish, feeling the nourishment infuse his tired muscles with renewed energy. The elderly oarsman takes measured bites, savoring each one, observing the boy and child with quiet awareness, noting how fatigue and focus intermingle. The woman oversees the distribution with calm authority, ensuring fairness, watching the subtle expressions and gestures that reveal exhaustion, curiosity, or the keen attention that marks learning. Even in these brief moments, the importance of patience, observation, and shared effort is subtly impressed upon every member of the crew. The afternoon brings a heightened intensity. The sun warms the deck to a gentle heat, highlighting every knot, every frayed rope, every line under tension. The captain demonstrates intricate adjustments to sails and rigging, each movement precise, a blend of anticipation and responsive correction. The boy follows closely, hands adjusting ropes with careful attention, muscles learning to synchronize with the rhythm of the ship and the motion of the waves. The elderly oarsman leans into each stroke with deliberate control, feeling the subtle resistance, sensing the minute movements that make navigation both an art and a laborious task. The child crew member, small hands gripping a line, balances delicately, sensing the subtle rise and fall of the deck beneath him. Each sound, the whisper of the wind through sails, the gentle slap of water against timber, the creak of ajoled planks forms a meditative background, grounding the crew in the rhythm of work. Evening falls, slowly. Shadows stretch long across the deck, the sun casting a soft amber glow over the ropes, sails, and wooden planks. The crew's pace eases, but remains deliberate. The captain inspects the rigging meticulously, while the young boy mimics each action, internalizing the flow of observation and correction. The elderly oarsman rests briefly, appreciating the subtle pulse of effort and reward. The knowledge accumulated over years of repetition and labor. The woman moves with care, checking each rope and line, ensuring that all is secure before night fully descends. The air is rich with salt, sun, and the lingering aroma of provisions, a sensory map of the day's labor and care. Night arrives gently, stars sparkling across the sky and mirrored by the shimmering reflection of the calm sea. The longship rocks softly, and with it, the rhythm of the day lingers in the muscles and minds of the crew. The young boy, exhausted but reflective, feels the cadence of labor embedded in his movements. The elderly oarsman hums his quiet tune, guiding the balance of ship and crew in an almost imperceptible meditation. The child crew member rests, learning to sense the gentle pulse of the ship beneath him. The subtle shifts, the soft hum of the wind. The captain's attentive gaze sweeps over the deck, listening to the whisper of water and sails, ensuring the seamless continuity of safety and rhythm throughout the day. The repetition of tasks, from the careful morning adjustments to midday sustenance, from the steady afternoon labor to the evening inspection, and finally the quiet meditation of night forms a continuous cycle of learning, endurance, and mindful observation. The young boy, elderly oarsman, and child crew member become attuned to every texture, every scent, every sound, and every subtle motion of the ship. Even in the harsh and demanding life at sea, there is a quiet dignity in the rhythm, a meditative awareness of one's environment, and a profound connection between labor, learning, and the natural world. The first pale light of dawn stretches across the restless northern sea, brushing the Viking longship with gentle amber and muted gold. Each plank beneath your feet has been worn smooth over countless voyages, yet every step presses into rough wood, textured and resilient, reminding you of the ship's enduring life. The ropes, coiled and taut, smell faintly of tar and the lingering salt of sea spray, each fiber alive under your fingertips. A quiet creak resonates through the hull, a subtle, rhythmic acknowledgement of the waves shifting beneath, almost like the heartbeat of the vessel itself. You inhale deeply the mingling scents of brine, tar, and smoked fish from the night before, grounding you in this small, moving world. You step carefully across the deck, feeling the gentle sway beneath your boots. The youngest crew member, no more than 12, mirrors your careful movements, fingers brushing over the ropes, memorizing the pull and give, learning to anticipate tension, and to balance themselves with every subtle shift of the vessel. Their small hands are sticky from sweat, roughened from rope, each line a tactile lesson in patience and endurance. Nearby, the elderly oarsman stretches slowly, muscles flexing with deliberate ease, joints cracking quietly in acknowledgement of age and effort. His fingers glide over the worn or handles, sensing resistance in the water, understanding the nuances of effort and release, a knowledge cultivated over decades of voyages. The supervising woman moves silently across the deck, her presence calming yet authoritative. She touches ropes lightly, adjusts knots, and demonstrates movements with meticulous care. Every gesture is instructive yet gentle, a quiet example of endurance, patience, and skill. You watch the boy mimic her motions, small, tentative at first, then with increasing confidence. The child crew member practices hoisting and tightening lines, sensing the wind through the fluttering sail, adjusting his stance with attention to balance. The rhythmic sound of water slapping against the hull, the gentle rustle of canvas, and the faint creak of timber become a layered auditory tapestry, steadying, grounding, almost hypnotic in their repetition. Morning extends with deliberate, continuous motion. The young boy lifts and lowers ropes in sync with the oarsman's hum, learning the subtle interplay between effort and natural resistance. The elderly oarsman pulls steadily, muscles remembering each stroke, the subtle pressure of water through the oar forming a soft, meditative cadence. The child crew member tightens knots with concentrated focus, observing slight shifts in sail tension, learning the language of the ship and the wind. Repetition becomes a silent teacher. Each movement reinforces the last, and slowly, subtly, the boy's muscles and mind attune to the unhurried rhythm of labor. The sun climbs higher, warming the deck and casting elongated shadows. You feel the texture of sun-warmed wood beneath your bare hands, rough but familiar. The boy senses the sails tugging, the subtle tug transmitted through ropes and planks, and instinctively adjusts. The elderly oarsman continues with measured, enduring rhythm, noticing every minor change in resistance. Teaching without words, the child's crew member mirrors these movements, absorbing lessons in balance, anticipation, and patience. The supervising woman walks calmly among them, her presence guiding and correcting gently, ensuring each motion is both effective and harmonious with the natural cadence of the long ship. Midday brings a brief pause. Meals are simple: coarse bread, smoked fish, and cool water. The boy chews slowly, savoring nourishment that restores strength for the afternoon's labor. The elderly oarsman eats quietly, observing subtle reactions of the young crew, noting fatigue, curiosity, and resilience. The child crew member tastes every bite with attention, mindful of each flavor and texture, understanding that even these small, simple moments carry lessons in patience and awareness. The faint aroma of bread, the dry texture of the crust, and the subtle saltiness of fish form a gentle, grounding sensory interlude before work resumes. Afternoon is marked by intensified labor and heightened awareness. Wind shifts demand rapid adjustment of sails and ropes. The boy moves with growing confidence, hands tracing knots, adjusting tension, learning to anticipate the wind and the vessel's response. The elderly oarsman continues each stroke with deliberate care, coordinating with the natural pulse of the waves, each movement meditative in its precision. The child crew member grips ropes, balances effort with surrender, learning subtle techniques that will serve him for years. Every creak of timber, every flutter of canvas, every slap of water contributes to a symphony of repetitive, grounding, meditative activity. The woman supervising maintains order with quiet authority, adjusting, demonstrating, guiding, ensuring both efficiency and safety as evening arrives. Long shadows stretch across the deck, transforming every rope, plank, and sail into a patchwork of amber and muted gold. Movements slow, deliberate, reflective of accumulated effort. The boy pauses, feeling the subtle tug of ropes, the sway beneath him, internalizing lessons in timing, anticipation, and patience. The elderly oarsman stretches gently, allowing fatigue to settle comfortably into his muscles, reflective of a day's labor and endurance. The child crew member mirrors these subtle adjustments, sensing the gentle pulse of the longship, internalizing rhythm, balance, and attention. The faint mix of salt, sun-warmed wood, and lingering smoke from provisions forms a rich, grounding sensory environment. Night descends gradually. Stars, scattered across a dark velvet sky, mirrored in the gently rippling water. The ship rocks slowly, carrying the day's rhythm into every muscle, every breath, every thought. The boy leans against a coiled rope, sensing vibrations beneath him, calm yet alert to the vessel's subtle shifts. The elderly oarsman hums quietly, blending breath and attention into a soft, meditative cadence. The child crew member lies down, feeling gentle movement, learning vigilance and relaxation, surrendering to the night. The captain observes in quiet, attentive stillness, ensuring harmony, order, and safety through the night's quiet passage, through morning, midday, afternoon, evening, and night. The crew experiences endurance, reflection, and the soothing rhythm of repeated labor. Tactile engagement, observation, repetition, and gentle instruction form a continuous cadence, guiding mind and body towards subtle mastery. Even amidst the demanding life of a Viking longship, there is serenity in rhythm, dignity in labor, and quiet satisfaction in mindful attention. Day yields into night, muscles relax, breath slows, and the crew drifts gently into restorative sleep, the lessons of the day echoing softly in their minds. The northern seas stretch endlessly, their surface shimmering with a gentle, restless light, each wave carrying with it the weight of untold stories. As you stand on the deck of the Viking longship, the cool salt spray brushes your face, leaving a faint brine taste on your lips. The wood beneath your boots feels familiar yet unpredictable, groaning softly with every gentle sway. The ropes, coiled and taut, smell faintly of tar, a lingering reminder of past voyages and the care that has gone into maintaining this vessel. Every creak, every subtle shift is a language of the sea, speaking to those who listen closely. You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with the mingled sense of salt, wood, and smoke from last night's fire. Grounding yourself in the rhythm of the ship, beneath the surface of the water lies a hidden world, ancient and mysterious. Shadows move with the currents, sometimes suggesting the outlines of submerged shipwrecks, sometimes the jagged remains of coastal settlements swallowed by time. Imagine yourself leaning over the side, eyes tracing these shadows, feeling the cool mist of spray on your hands as you reach toward an unseen history. The young boy among the crew mirrors your attention, his small hands gripping the railing as he peers into the depths, wide-eyed and cautious, tracing every shimmer, every ripple, every hint of what lies beneath. The elderly oarsman, weathered by countless journeys, hums a low, steady tune, his eyes scanning the water with practiced patience, guiding the boy gently with words and gestures, teaching him to observe without rushing, to imagine without fear. Artifacts rest silently on the seabed, each one a fragment of a past life. A broken shield lies half buried in sand, its one sharp edge softened by centuries beneath the waves. A rusted axe, still clinging to the memory of the hand that wielded it, speaks quietly of labor and survival. You imagine the original owner, the weight of the axe in a hand calloused by daily toil, the rhythm of swings echoing through a long, strenuous day. The young boy traces imagined lines with his fingers, feeling the echo of effort, learning that even in objects there is history, endurance, and subtle instruction. The elderly oarsman nods softly, sensing the boy's connection to these silent reminders, allowing the rhythm of the sea and the quiet passage of time to instruct without words. Morning extends into a slow, deliberate exploration of the waves. Each glimmer beneath the water offers a story, each shadow a lesson in observation. The child crew member moves methodically across the deck, adjusting lines, learning to anticipate the sway of the vessel, feeling the pulse of the ocean transmitted through every rope and plank. He touches the sails, noting how the fabric responds to the slightest wind change, how tension shifts imperceptibly, learning the subtle, almost invisible conversation between ship and sea. The boy watches, absorbs, imitates, his small hands practicing knots and tugs, understanding the delicate balance between control and surrender, patience and action. Every sound, the slap of water against wood, the soft creak of the hull, the flutter of canvases layered and repetitive, a gentle cadence that carries both instruction and calm as the sun climbs higher. The water beneath sparkles with living motion. Schools of fish dart near submerged objects, brushing against timbers, weaving through rusted metal fragments. You notice the rhythm of their movement, the way currents guide them, the way shadows shift with every motion. The boy notices too, his young mind tracing paths and patterns, connecting movement with consequence, beginning to sense the order hidden beneath apparent chaos. The elderly oarsman points out subtle cues, the way sand shifts around a partially buried plank, how currents rearrange history slowly, almost imperceptibly. The child crew member mimics these observations, understanding that history is not static, it moves, adapts, and teaches to those patient enough to watch. Afternoon stretches, the sun warming the deck and casting elongated shadows across coiled ropes and taut sails. You feel the grain of wood beneath your hands, rough yet comforting, a tactile reminder of enduring labor. The boy moves in tandem with the ship, adjusting, sensing, responding to the gentle nudges of wind and water, his attention alternating between observation and imagination. The elderly oarsman hums quietly, muscles moving in practiced patterns, echoing the slow pulse of the waves, teaching endurance through rhythm rather than instruction. The child crew member grips ropes with deliberate care, each knot tightened with awareness, each tug measured against the ebb and flow of the sea. The repetition becomes meditation, grounding, a quiet focus that allows imagination to roam freely, tracing histories, imagining lives, and feeling time stretch in gentle, deliberate pulses. Evening falls slowly, painting the deck with amber and deepening shadows. The boy pauses to trace his hands along the rope, feeling the fibers, the subtle friction, and the way tension responds to his touch. The elderly oarsman stretches, welcoming the slow release of a day's labor, muscles remembering effort, energy diffused into calm endurance. The child crew member reflects, watching subtle shifts in water and sail, tracing imaginary lines that connect distant wrecks, imagining long-forgotten journeys. The scent of tar, sea spray, and lingering smoke drifts faintly through the air, anchoring thoughts in sensory memory. Every sound, the gentle slap of waves, the creak of timber. The distant cry of seabirds forms a continuous, soothing rhythm connecting past and present. Movement and stillness, night approaches. Stars scattered across the velvet sky, mirrored in the gently rippling sea. The ship rocks slowly, carrying vibrations through every plank, every rope, every hand. The boy leans back, eyes tracing constellations reflected on the surface, feeling the pulse of the longship and the ocean beneath him. The elderly oarsman hums, low and steady, blending with the ambient rhythm of wind and waves, a soft meditation. The child crew member lies beside him, attentive yet calm, absorbing the quiet lessons of observation, patience, and reflection. Every glint, every shadow, every gentle shift of water reinforces a sense of continuity, of history moving beneath the surface, carrying stories, endurance, and subtle instruction into the night. Through the full span of day and into night, the sea offers its mysteries patiently. Observation, reflection, repetition, and mindfulness form a rhythm that is at once grounding and expansive, guiding mind and body into gentle calm. The lost ships, the submerged artifacts, the silent movements of marine life whisper together in a continuous, soothing cadence. Each moment, each detail, each quiet observation contributes to understanding, reflection, and serenity. Slowly, as darkness deepens, the crew drifts into restful awareness. The rhythm of the waves carrying thoughts, imagination, and quiet curiosity toward the gentle threshold of sleep, leaving mind and body at peace with the enduring mysteries of the sea. The Viking longship moves slowly across the calm silvery waters, each gentle swell sending a rhythmic vibration through the sturdy wooden planks beneath your feet. You can feel the subtle undulation of the ship as it responds to the motion of the tide, a quiet, almost hypnotic pulse that threads itself through every plank, rope, and beam. The air is thick with the scent of salt and tar, mingled with the faint, earthy aroma of wet timber, washed clean by the relentless motion of the waves. Each breath draws in the history of 1,000 journeys, 1,000 hands that have built, maintained, and navigated this vessel. Your fingers trace the ropes, running along fibers that are coarse yet pliable, shaped by decades of use. The lines have been knotted and reknotted countless times, each twist and turn a testament to human ingenuity and endurance, each rope a silent witness to repetitive labor performed under sun, wind, and rain beneath the surface of the sea. A quieter, hidden world unfolds, silent and still yet brimming with the traces of lives long past. Timbers softened by centuries, nails rounded by erosion, shields partially buried in sand, axes and small tools lying in gentle disarray, waiting for an attentive eye to discern their story. You imagine a young boy leaning over the ship's railing, his hands lightly brushing against coiled ropes as his eyes scan the waters below. He envisions the repetitive movements of sailors who once hauled, rowed, and adjusted sails, each motion precise, steady, and necessary for survival. The rhythm of their labor, repeated over days and years, echoes faintly in the mind, a quiet, constant beat that resonates with your own breathing and posture. The subtle creak of wood, the soft slap of water against the hull, the whisper of wind through rigging all become part of a delicate, immersive soundscape, soothing and gentle nearby. The elderly oarsman offers guidance in low, calm tones, never intrusive, always patient. Notice the way currents shape the sand below, he murmurs. See how each object appears and disappears with gentle shifts. Patience is the key to understanding. The boy nods, focusing on the faint outlines of sunken timbers and rusted fittings. Every glance, every movement, every trace of the submerged world builds a rhythm of observation. A meditation on endurance, repetition, and quiet attention. The simple, steady motions of the sailors, the running of rope, the careful balancing of feet, the adjustment of sails form a hypnotic cadence, a subtle lull that aligns with the rhythm of breath and heartbeat, inviting calm and focus. As the morning sun rises higher, its light spreads across the deck, illuminating textures and details in soft, golden patterns. Shadows play across the water, revealing glimpses of timbers, shields, and axes beneath the surface. Schools of small fish glide silently, casting moving shadows over submerged objects. The boy runs his hands along coiled ropes, rough but familiar, tracing the lines and imagining the repeated actions that sailors once performed, lifting, tying, adjusting. Each motion is a quiet lesson in endurance, dexterity, and precision. The oarsman hums a gentle, low melody, blending seamlessly with the water's lap and the whisper of wind, creating a soft, continuous soundscape. Every movement, every touch, every sound contributes to a layered, immersive experience that calms the mind and body. Fostering quiet contemplation, by midday, the deck radiates warmth, highlighting subtle details of submerged relics, timbers, fractured yet intact, nails smoothed by centuries, shields partially preserved, each piece a fragment of life preserved by time and water. You imagine hands gripping these objects, fingers thickened and calloused, wrists and shoulders honed by repetitive labor. The boy mentally enacts these motions, simulating the lifting, swinging, and adjusting performed by sailors long gone. The oarsman remains near, a grounding presence, his low humming continuing uninterrupted. He does not direct, but allows the boy's imagination to build stories, observing silently while reinforcing a steady, patient rhythm. As the afternoon sun softens, currents shift gently, revealing new angles of sunken objects while concealing others. Fragments of shields, timbers, and tools emerge slowly, teaching a lesson in observation, impermanence, and calm patience. The boy follows these changes with attentive eyes and hands, connecting floating debris into coherent narratives of labor, endurance, and daily life. The oarsman's continuous humming blends with the natural sounds of the ship and sea, forming a gentle, enveloping auditory layer. Each subtle visual detail, each tactile sensation, and each quiet sound reinforces focus and meditation, while allowing the mind to drift calmly through time and history. Evening falls gradually, bathing the deck in soft golden light. Shadows lengthen, stretching across planks and ropes, while the boy leans against coiled fibers, fingers tracing textures shaped by generations of sailors. Repetition, observation, and imagination combine into a gentle meditation, a rhythm that is as much mental as it is physical. The oarsman remains nearby, a steady presence, providing support without interruption, letting observation and reflection flow naturally. Every sensory detail, the roughness of rope, the subtle flecks of timbers, the play of light and shadow creates a rich, layered experience that is simultaneously instructive and soothing, encouraging calm reflection as night falls. Stars emerge overhead, mirrored faintly in the gentle swell of water. The long ship rocks slowly, each plank transmitting quiet vibrations beneath your feet. The boy reclines fully, tracing constellations, shadows, and reflections. absorbing the rhythm of ship, sea, and centuries of labor. The oarsman hums softly, the sound merging with creaking wood and lapping water, forming a gentle, enveloping soundscape. Every artifact, every shadow, every subtle movement forms a quiet narrative of endurance, patience, and rhythm. There is no drama, no haste, only the slow, continuous pulse of life aboard a vessel that has carried people and stories through centuries. Through the night, the boy, the oarsman, and you share in the hypnotic, meditative rhythm of the longship. Submerged wrecks, shifting sands, and drifting fragments form a subtle, calming pulse, embedding history in memory without urgency. The repetition of observation, touch, and imagination encourages both focus and rest, guiding the mind gently toward contemplation, calm, and ultimately, the serene transition into sleep. The Viking voyages, preserved in timber, rope, and artifact, unfold slowly, quietly, allowing history to become a gentle companion in this night of reflective rest. The late afternoon sun filters through shifting clouds, casting gentle golden streaks across the deck of the Viking longship. The air is crisp, tinged with the brine of the sea and the faint, persistent smell of tar and aged wood. You can feel the subtle sway of the vessel beneath your feet, each movement a quiet, continuous reminder of the ocean's unhurried power. The ropes beneath your hands are rough but familiar, fibers worn smooth in places by centuries of use. Each coil and knot has a history, an unspoken story of sailors who have pulled, tied, and tightened tirelessly, their hands and minds aligned with the rhythm of daily labor. The textures are grounding, the tactile feedback a gentle anchor to this distant time and place. Even as you imagine the ship cutting through the calm waves, you sense the presence of those who have labored here before, their efforts lingering in every worn plank, every weathered rope, every imperceptible creak of wood. Beneath the water's surface, a hidden narrative unfolds. Submerged timbers, fragments of shields, rusted nails, and waterlogged tools lie partially concealed by shifting sands and the slow caress of the tides. Each artifact is a silent witness to labor, endurance, and the unremarkable yet profound routines of daily life at sea. A young sailor, barely more than a boy, leans over the ship's railing, fingertips grazing the coiled ropes, eyes tracing the contours of submerged wreckage below. His mind fills in the gaps, repetitive motions of hauling oars, adjusting sails, and securing cargo. Each movement, repeated countless times by countless hands, becomes a rhythmic meditation, both physical and mental, a quiet testament to human persistence. The subtle sounds, the gentle lap of water against the hull, the whisper of wind through rigging, the distant calls of seabirds blend seamlessly with imagined creaks and groans of wood, forming a calming soundscape that encourages focused attention yet allows the mind to drift gently. An elderly oarsman sits nearby, his presence quiet and steady, offering guidance without urgency. Observe the patterns, he murmurs softly. See how the currents shift the sand and reveal what was hidden, then conceal it again. Life, like the sea, is both constant and ever-changing. The boy nods, focusing on subtle changes in light, shadow, and motion. Every glance, every tactile interaction, every repeated movement builds a meditative rhythm. The oarsman's soft humming merges with the ambient sounds, forming a continuous auditory backdrop. The repetition of small, deliberate tasks, the tightening of lines, the careful adjustment of a sail, the balancing of weight across the deck creates a hypnotic cadence. lulling body and mind toward a state of calm reflection. The sun climbs higher, and the deck warms gently, revealing subtle textures of sunken objects beneath the water. Timbers softened by centuries, nails rounded by erosion, fragments of shields partially embedded in sand, all hint at countless hands that have gripped, lifted, and maintained them. The boy imagines each motion, the careful placement of a shield, the rhythmic pull of an oar, the precise adjustment of a sail. Each movement, repeated over and over, reinforces endurance, patience, and quiet concentration. The oarsman's humming continues steadily, unhurried, blending with the natural sounds of the ocean and the ship. Every tactile impression, every visual detail, and every subtle sound becomes part of a layered, immersive experience that calms the senses while anchoring attention. As afternoon deepens, the sun casts warmer tones across the deck and water. Currents shift, sand and sediment, revealing hidden fragments of history, only to obscure them moments later. The boy traces these changes with his eyes and fingertips, weaving narratives of effort, endurance, and daily life aboard the longship. He imagines the young, middle-aged, and elderly sailors whose combined labor kept the vessel moving and maintained the fragile balance between sea and survival. Each artifact tells a story not of dramatic conquest, but of the quiet repetition, discipline, and endurance that defined everyday life on board. The oarsman remains nearby, silently supporting this meditation in motion, offering subtle guidance only when absolutely necessary. Evening approaches, light softening to a muted golden glow. Shadows stretch across the deck and water, creating a shifting, hypnotic tapestry. The boy leans against coiled ropes, tracing the fibers with fingertips that have learned patience through gentle repetition. Each motion is deliberate, each glance attentive, and each breath synchronized with the slow, measured rhythm of the sea. The oarsman hums a low, continuous melody, blending seamlessly with the whisper of wind, the gentle lap of water, and the subtle creaks of timbers. Every sensory detail, the texture of rope, the flex of deck planks, the shifting light and shadow reinforces a calm, meditative state. A rhythm that mirrors both human labor and the natural ebb and flow of the sea. Night descends gradually, stars emerging one by one in the darkening sky. The longship rocks with a steady, gentle motion, each plank transmitting faint vibrations beneath your feet. The boy reclines fully now, observing constellations reflected on the calm water. The oarsman's humming continues softly, creating a soothing, enveloping soundscape. Artifacts beneath the wave's shields, nails, timbers rest quietly, their silent narratives now fully integrated into the rhythm of the night. The repetition, observation, and imagination combine to form a serene cadence, guiding attention inward while allowing the mind to drift toward rest. The ship, the sea, and the echoes of human labor create a continuous, gentle pulse, one that lulls the body and mind into a relaxed, reflective state through the night. The interplay of sensory detail, repetitive movement, and historical imagination forms a tranquil meditation. Submerged relics, shifting sands, and floating debris become part of a steady, hypnotic rhythm, each detail reinforcing patience, calm, and quiet focus. The boy, the oarsman, and you become part of this rhythm, moving in sync with centuries of labor and the timeless motion of the sea. The story of Viking voyages unfolds slowly, deliberately, and without urgency, allowing the mind to rest, reflect, and gently drift into the comforting embrace of sleep. shadows, textures, and subtle movements all contribute to a gentle narrative of endurance, quiet work, and historical continuity, guiding the listener seamlessly toward relaxation and rest. The longship, steady yet responsive, glides across the open sea as the afternoon light slowly softens. You can feel the gentle sway beneath your feet, a subtle, constant reminder of the ocean's presence, each plank vibrating with the collective weight and motion of the sailors and passengers aboard. The air carries the sharp tang of salt, mixed with the softer, earthy scent of wet timber and rope fibers, a combination that speaks to labor, endurance, and the persistent rhythm of life at sea. Your hands brush along coiled ropes, rough but pliable, each fiber telling a quiet story of repeated use. The knots and coils, formed and reformed countless times, bear witness to decades of careful, deliberate movements, and they are alive with the memory of hands long past. Every texture, every sound, every subtle shift of the vessel underfoot contributes to a meditative, immersive experience that is both grounding and calming, preparing the mind to follow each gentle rhythm. Near the stern, the more privileged passengers of the ship occupy a slightly elevated platform, their presence subtle yet discernible. A chieftain or high-ranking navigator sits quietly, observing, occasionally adjusting small elements of the ship's rigging, though never exerting overt authority. Their garments, crafted from fine wool and leather, offer a hint of luxury compared to the rough tunics and furs of the common sailors. You can imagine the subtle differences, the way their leather gloves fit snugly over hands unused to hard labor, the meticulous stitching of their boots, the polished surface of the small personal items they carry. The elder navigator's movements are calm, deliberate, almost ceremonial, blending seamlessly into the rhythm of the ship rather than interrupting it. The contrast between the elevated deck and the bustling, tactile labor below becomes a quiet study of social distinction and routine, without excitement or drama, allowing your mind to wander slowly over the textures and routines of daily life. Across the deck, young apprentices move deliberately, fetching items, maintaining the small supplies, and observing the senior sailors. A boy of perhaps 10 or 12 scrambles over coils of rope, carrying small tools with careful hands, his face flushed from exertion and concentration. Beside him, a young girl, older than the boy, assists in tidying sails and small furnishings, her fingers tracing fibers, noticing slight variations in rope tension, learning by observation and repetition. Their presence is quiet yet purposeful, a rhythm of learning, repetition, and attention to detail that mirrors the larger labor of the adults around them. Every movement, every glance, every whispered instruction becomes a layer in a subtle, continuous narrative, connecting human effort to the broader rhythm of the sea and ship. The boy's small hands, the girl's careful attention, the oarsman's practiced strength all merge into a calm, steady cadence of shared activity. The elder oarsman, seated near the midship, continues his work with measured, deliberate strokes, each pull synchronized with the low hum of his voice as he offers quiet guidance. "Notice the gentle pull of the waves," he says softly. "Observe the subtle shifts of wind and water. Every motion of the ship depends on understanding, patience, and careful attention." The young apprentices mimic his rhythm, feeling the resistance of each oar in water, sensing the way the ship rocks gently underfoot, the soft, continuous creaking of wood, the lapping of waves along the hull, and the occasional call of a seabird overhead merge into a layered, soothing soundscape. Even as your mind follows each subtle shift and motion, you feel the gentle pulse of time, the rhythm of shared labor and quiet learning, a pattern that fosters calm and invites relaxation as the sun descends toward the horizon. Long shadows stretch across the deck, highlighting textures and contours of timbers, ropes, and personal items. The finer garments of the chieftain contrast with the coarse textures of sailors' tunics, a subtle reminder of social hierarchy. Yet the rhythm of the ship's movement, the repetition of tasks, and the shared presence of crew and passengers create a leveling sense. A meditation on endurance, cooperation, and the slow, deliberate patterns of life. The boy and girl continue their tasks quietly, their attention drawn to minor details, each twist of rope, each small adjustment, reinforcing a tactile sense of participation in the ongoing, unhurried flow of life. The elder navigator, moving with deliberate grace, adds a layer of observation and care, blending personal authority with the collective rhythm of the ship's movement. As evening settles, the colors of sky and sea blend into muted shades of orange, pink, and gray. Light glances off polished leather, worn rope, and subtle metal fastenings, revealing textures that have endured centuries of labor and care. Every item aboard the vessel, the rough rope coils, the carefully stitched tunics, the polished personal effects of those slightly elevated in status contributes to the overall pattern of rhythm and repetition. Your mind can trace each subtle interaction, each repeated motion, each quiet shift in balance and weight. The harmony of these actions creates a calming, almost hypnotic cadence that draws attention inward, encouraging reflection and a gentle sense of presence. Night gradually falls, and stars begin to pierce the sky, mirrored faintly in the gentle swell of the sea. The longship rocks steadily, each plank transmitting a faint vibration beneath your feet. The boy and girl, now more relaxed, recline against coils of rope, tracing subtle textures, watching shadows, and observing the quiet work of the adults nearby. The elder navigator hums softly, a gentle, continuous sound blending with creaking timbers, lapping waves, and distant calls of seabirds settling down for the night. Every element, the tactile, the visual, the auditory melds into a slow, meditative rhythm, a layered experience of endurance, hierarchy, shared effort, and subtle observation. History, labor, and quiet observation merge seamlessly into a calming narrative, allowing both imagination and body to drift gently toward rest. Through the night, the longship maintains its steady, hypnotic pulse. The interactions of different social groups, the elite observer, the skilled sailors, the learning apprentices, blend into a continuous, immersive rhythm. Each detail, every repeated movement, every subtle sound forms a meditative cadence that encourages calm reflection, quiet contemplation, and a gentle descent into rest. The ship, the sea, and the shared history of those aboard create a soothing narrative, allowing the mind to rest as centuries of labor, endurance, and quiet social dynamics unfold around you. Shadows shift, ropes creak, waves lap softly in, enduring, serene pattern that invites reflection and gradual, peaceful relaxation, guiding the listener toward a gentle, restorative rest. The longship drifts steadily across the calm, open sea, each subtle sway beneath your feet forming a gentle, almost hypnotic rhythm. The salty scent of the ocean mingles with the earthy aroma of tar and sun-baked timber, creating an environment both grounding and serene. Each plank of wood, each coil of rope, each carefully maintained sail tells a story of countless journeys, of generations of hands pressing, pulling, and adjusting, leaving faint impressions and smooth where in their wake. You can hear the soft creak of the hull as it rocks in response to the gentle waves, a continuous, almost lullaby-like sound, accompanied by the occasional whisper of wind through the rigging and the distant cry of seabirds returning to roost. The entire vessel seems alive, a steady, breathing entity that embraces the rhythm of human effort, nature, and time itself. On the upper deck, the chieftain moves deliberately, his garments of fine wool and leather catching the light. Each fold, stitch, and seam suggesting experience, rank, and quiet authority. His gloved hands trace the ropes, adjusting sails with meticulous attention, the weight and tension communicating subtle information about the wind, the water, and the ship's balance. Around him, a handful of seasoned navigators follow similar measured patterns, observing the horizon, scanning the subtle textures of the waves, and ensuring the course is maintained with gentle, precise adjustments. Their movements are calm, deliberate, almost meditative, blending seamlessly into the natural rhythm of the vessel and its environment. The smooth leather, the slight spring of a taut rope, the give of the deck beneath boots, all provide a tactile layer to the serene orchestration of life at sea. Below deck, the rowers maintain their practiced rhythm, muscles flexing and releasing in synchronized motion. Among them, an older sailor, his hair streaked with grey, moves with quiet authority, each stroke deliberate, measured, and economical. Next to him, a young apprentice imitates the motions, mirroring the pressure of the blade, the subtle resistance of the water, and the ebb and flow of the ship's sway. A gentle mentorship flows between them, communicated through touch, observation, and repetition rather than words. The soft splash of oars, the creaking of timbers, and the rhythmic breathing of the crew form a layered, calming cadence, an immersive environment where effort and patience merge. Nearby, children accompany their parents on small tasks, their hands tracing the fibers of rough rope, feeling the difference between new strands and those worn smooth by generations of use. A boy carefully adjusts a rope, trying to match the subtle tension his father demonstrates, while a girl tidies small supplies, her attention deliberate and steady. The textures, the gentle resistance, the slight shifts of the deck beneath their feet, and the faint sway of the vessel all contribute to a slow, meditative rhythm, where every movement and tactile sensation becomes an exercise in patience and awareness. Their laughter is quiet, soft, and sporadic, blending naturally with the gentle sounds of the ocean, creating a layered, immersive atmosphere as the sun moves across the sky. The play of light and shadow emphasizes textures across the ship's surfaces, the grain of the deck smoothed by countless footsteps, the frayed fibers of rope, the subtle sheen of polished leather boots. These details, subtle and quiet, tell a story of repeated effort, endurance, and human ingenuity. Apprentices trace these details, observing the interplay between surface and touch, learning not only the physical skills, but also the rhythm and balance of life aboard the longship. Every adjustment of a sail, every tug on a rope, every minor correction of a tool becomes part of a continuous, meditative practice, reinforcing patience, attentiveness, and presence. The gentle afternoon wind causes sails to shift slightly, producing soft creaks and murmurs, a continuous hum that merges with the natural sounds of the ocean. The elder navigator rises slowly, moving along the deck with deliberate steps, checking the rigging and the horizon, making subtle, precise adjustments to maintain balance and trajectory. The young apprentices observe, repeating each gesture with careful attention, their small hands and feet adjusting to the vessel's movements. The tactile sensation of rope would unsail under their fingers and boots deepens their awareness, connecting every movement to the subtle forces of nature. This repetition, measured and continuous, forms a gentle, hypnotic rhythm that invites quiet reflection and mental ease. By late afternoon, the interplay between light, texture, and movement creates a subtle, calming tableau. Shadows stretch across the deck, revealing the contrast between rough, worn surfaces and the smooth polish of leather and tools. The hierarchy of life aboard the ship is visible yet gentle. Elders and navigators guide through subtle gestures. Children and apprentices learn through observation and repetition, while rowers maintain a quiet, shared rhythm of effort and endurance. The combined effect of these layers, the textures, sounds, and movements creates a multidimensional meditation, where attention drifts gently from one sensory impression to another, soothing the mind and body alike. As evening approaches, the sky deepens into soft shades of indigo and violet. Stars begin to emerge overhead, reflected faintly on the gentle swells of water. The longship rocks steadily, transmitting gentle vibrations beneath every footstep. Crew members pause their labor, observing the horizon, making minute adjustments, and guiding apprentices with quiet, unobtrusive gestures. Children settle near coiled ropes, hands tracing fibers, observing subtle interactions of wind, sail, and hull. The rhythmic interplay of human effort, natural forces, and tactile observation forms a layered, immersive pattern, encouraging mental stillness and gentle reflection. Each sensory detail, the friction of rope, the smoothness of wood, the weight of leather, the subtle sway of the deck blends seamlessly, creating a hypnotic, sleep-inducing cadence through the night. Shadows stretch and shift gently across the deck. The gentle creaks of timber, the soft murmur of water against the hull, and the occasional call of a distant seabird form a constant, soothing backdrop. The longship, its passengers, and the quiet, persistent patterns of labor, mentorship, and observation create a serene, immersive tapestry. Every repeated gesture, every tactile experience, and every subtle adjustment weaves a rhythm that is both historical and meditative. The gentle sway of the vessel, the layered human activity, and the delicate interplay of textures and sound provide a comforting cadence, guiding the mind toward calm, reflection, and the serene quiet of restful sleep. Shadows lengthen and deepen, the stars shine softly, and the quiet, continuous motion of the longship carries all aboard into the calm embrace of night, forming a perfect, soothing environment for rest and reflection. The longship continues its measured glide across the endless, gentle waves, the rhythmic motion beneath your feet forming a steady, soothing cadence. The ocean air carries a delicate blend of salt, tar, and sun-warmed wood, an aroma that is both grounding and quietly comforting. Each plank, rope, and sail has a story embedded in its texture, the smooth polish from countless hands, the slight phrase from repetitive use, the subtle impressions left by years of labor and care. You can hear the soft creak of the hull as it adjusts to the gentle swell, a continuous, almost hypnotic sound, punctuated by the whisper of wind through the rigging and the faint call of distant seabirds. Every sensory detail contributes to a serene, immersive atmosphere, drawing the mind gently into the rhythm of the ship near the prow. The chieftain and a small group of high-ranking sailors move with quiet deliberation, Their clothing, finely woven and carefully tailored, suggests status, experience, and an unspoken authority. You can almost feel the textures, the smoothness of well-worn leather gloves, the weight of tools and instruments in their hands, and the slight spring of the ropes they manipulate. Each movement is slow, precise, and purposeful, blending seamlessly into the natural rhythm of the vessel. Their presence conveys subtle guidance rather than overt command, and the soft, methodical adjustments they make help maintain balance and order, reinforcing a calm, meditative environment across the deck below. The rowers maintain their synchronized rhythm, each stroke a blend of strength and subtle awareness. An older sailor, his hands calloused from years of labor, moves deliberately, guiding a young apprentice who is learning the nuanced resistance of the oar against the water. The boy's hands mimic the elder's, feeling the subtle push and pull, learning the rhythm of the sea through repetition and touch. Nearby, a girl assists with supplies, adjusting small ropes and ensuring everything remains secure, her movements careful and attentive. The combination of experienced strength, youthful learning, and attentive care creates a layered, almost orchestral pattern of activity, a gentle symphony of effort, observation, and quiet mentorship. Throughout the day, the sunlight plays across the deck, casting shadows that emphasize textures, the grain of the timber smoothed by countless footsteps, the frayed edges of ropes softened by years of use, the polished surfaces of leather boots and tools. Every small detail tells a story of endurance, labor, and subtle expertise. The children observe, tracing these textures with their fingers, learning not only the physical skills but also the rhythms and patterns of life at sea. Each gesture, adjustment, and motion becomes part of a larger meditation, where repetition and attention to detail encourage calm, reflection, and subtle engagement. As afternoon advances, the wind shifts, producing gentle tugs on the sails and soft, creaking murmurs from the rigging. The elder navigator rises, moving deliberately along the deck, making careful adjustments while scanning the horizon. His gestures are slow, precise, and measured, teaching through demonstration rather than words. Apprentices observe and imitate, their small hands and feet learning to respond to the ship's sway, the weight of ropes, and the subtle feedback from oars and sails. Every tactile sensation, the friction of rope fibers, the smoothness of wood, the gentle pull of a sail forms a quiet, continuous lesson in patience, awareness, and coordination. By late afternoon, the deck becomes a tapestry of light, shadow, and human movement. Long shadows reveal contrasts between rough planks and smooth leather, between new ropes and those worn soft by years of handling. The social hierarchy is quietly visible. Elders and navigators lead through subtle guidance. Children and apprentices observe and mimic, while rowers maintain a calm, steady rhythm of effort. Every layer the textures, sounds, and gestures creates a meditative pattern, a gentle, hypnotic cadence that invites mental stillness and reflection as evening descends. The sky transforms into a palette of soft indigo, lavender, and deepening violet, reflected faintly on the undulating water. Crew members finish minor adjustments and pause to observe the horizon, while children settle near coiled ropes, tracing fibers and feeling the gentle sway beneath them. The rhythmic interplay of human activity, natural forces, and subtle tactile feedback encourages calm and serenity. Each repeated motion, each carefully observed adjustment, and each layer of sensory detail the textures of rope and wood, the weight of leather, the gentle lapping of water forms a soothing, immersive cadence. When night fully arrives, stars emerge overhead, casting faint light across the deck. The longship rocks with continuous, gentle motion. The crew rests or maintains quiet vigilance. Children continue to observe and learn through subtle gestures, and the elder figures move deliberately, making minor corrections as needed. The steady sway of the vessel, the harmonious rhythm of labor, mentorship and observation, and the tactile memories embedded in every rope, plank, and tool create a layered, hypnotic experience. The quiet patterns of human effort, the soft sounds of water and wind, and the interplay of textures and shadows form an environment designed for reflection, calm, and gentle rest. Throughout the night, the ship remains a living, breathing presence, its motion synchronized with the ebb and flow of the waves. Every minor sound, the creak of timber, the soft rustle of ropes, the occasional distant call of a seabird blends into a tranquil, immersive background. The interplay of social hierarchy, labor, mentorship, and quiet observation provides a meditative structure. Repeated gestures, tactile awareness, and subtle visual cues form a continuous, calming rhythm. The gentle rocking, layered sensory input, and harmonious human activity create a perfect environment for reflection, serenity, and the gradual drift into rest. Shadows lengthen, waves lap softly, and the subtle, persistent presence of life aboard the longship continues, guiding all aboard into the calm embrace of night, offering a quiet, restorative conclusion to the day at sea. As the longship drifts gently under the vast expanse of night, the stars overhead twinkle softly, casting delicate reflections on the calm surface of the water. You can feel the rhythmic sway beneath your feet, steady and unhurried, like a gentle lullaby that carries every passenger into a state of quiet reflection. The subtle creaks of timber, the whispering wind through the rigging, and the faint lap of waves against the hull form a soothing symphony, a persistent yet gentle melody that encourages your thoughts to soften, slow, and drift. You might imagine the faint scent of salt and sun-baked wood, mingling with the soft, earthy aroma of tar, creating a comforting environment that envelops you entirely. Around you, the crew rests, each figure a part of the ongoing rhythm, their presence serene, unhurried, and attentive to the subtle motions of the ship. Their breathing, measured and calm, blends seamlessly with the gentle rocking of the longship, forming a unified cadence that resonates quietly in the space between the waves and the deck beneath your feet. In your mind, you can trace the patterns of the day, the delicate adjustments of sails, the careful handling of ropes, the shared knowledge passed quietly from elder to apprentice. Each moment of effort, each subtle correction, each layer of tactile awareness has contributed to a sense of harmony, an awareness of the connection between human hands, natural forces, and the persistent, steady motion of the vessel. You can feel the resonance of these patterns, the gentle echo of repetition, a soft, calming rhythm that lulls the mind toward rest. Imagine the children, the apprentices, and the seasoned sailors alike, all moving in quiet synergy with the ocean, each gesture deliberate, measured, and unhurried. Their actions, though simple and repetitive, create a sense of continuity, of timeless practice, where every movement contributes to a larger, gentle order. The tactile sensations, the friction of rope under fingers, the smoothness of worn wood beneath toes, The subtle pull of sail and oar linger softly in your awareness, anchoring you in this serene moment. As the night deepens, the sky darkens into rich shades of indigo, violet, and midnight blue, and the stars grow brighter, scattered like tiny lanterns above the quiet, rolling waves. You can feel the gentle oscillation of the long ship, a slow, continuous sway that mirrors the natural rhythm of breathing and thought. Every subtle movement, every soft sound, every delicate scent blends together, forming an immersive environment that encourages your mind to soften and release the cares of the day, reflect on the long hours, the quiet lessons, and the gentle, continuous effort that defined the day aboard the longship. Each rower, each apprentice, each navigator has contributed to this seamless dance, creating a living rhythm that carries the ship and everyone aboard forward in harmony with the sea. The repeated motions, the measured observations, and the quiet attentiveness form a gentle, ongoing meditation, guiding your thoughts toward calmness and ease. As the hours pass, your attention drifts softly, carried by the steady motion of the ship and the layered sensory experiences that surround you. The subtle sway beneath your feet, the soft creaks and murmurs of timber, the faint brushing of wind and salt against your skin, and the gentle interplay of shadows and light all work together to lull the mind toward rest. The longship, with its persistent rhythm and serene presence, becomes a vessel not only for the sailors but also for your own thoughts, carrying them gently into the quiet spaces of night. Feel the calm, the steady motion, the gentle whispers of wind and water. Allow each breath to slow, each muscle to release, and each thought to drift, carried by the soft, continuous rhythm of the ocean and the vessel itself. Let the textures, the worn wood beneath your hands, the smooth ropes, the cool air of the night anchor you in this serene experience, creating a space of calm and gentle reflection. In this final moment, let the day's efforts and lessons, the gentle sway of the longship and the soft, layered sounds of sea and ship converge into a single, calming experience. The mind becomes quiet, the body relaxed, and the gentle rhythm of the night encourages your thoughts to settle, to float, and to drift. As you follow this soothing cadence, allow the calm and serenity of the longship, the ocean, and the night sky to guide you into a gentle, restorative sleep. Good night.